Last time on Sonic Adventure!
No! 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 Welcome to my last time on series, where I revisit games I've played in the past to discuss my thoughts about the gameplay and story. As the title of this video suggests, I will be talking about Sonic Adventure, a game that I liked as a child. After replaying it, I hold the same sentiment for the game. By the way, if you have Sonic Adventure on Steam and you want your game to look like mine, all I did was download Better Sonic Adventure DX on Game Banana, install their complete Dreamcast experience, and then uncheck the character models on the mod manager. Trust me, it's worth it. Revisiting this game, I really wanted to try exploring and try all the cool new tricks I've seen people do. Of course, I kept failing time after time. I was so ungraceful. Even when I was trying to do well, I kept on falling off the stage. I've had a harder time playing now than when I was a kid. How does that even work? I died over 8 times during the final Eggman boss fight.
It's no use.
No!
See if you can make it.
No! 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 No!
Get a load of this.
No! No! Playing as Sonic was as fun as I can remember. He was fast and his levels were unique from one another, which I noticed when I wasn't busy dying. At every level, I've gotten to C without fail, but I heard that every time you complete a level for the first time, you always get a C. If that's really the case, I'll feel a lot better with myself. If you play Sonic Adventure DX on the GameCube, you can play as Tails with the second controller. In the past, I liked to use Tails to block Sonic at the end result screen. It was always funny to see him taking credit for all that Sonic did in that level. Here, I forgot I was playing the game on Steam and was wondering why I wasn't able to play with Tails. I was really bummed that I couldn't play with this feature again, but at least the rumbling feature still worked. After finishing Sonic's story, I had trouble deciding whose story to play next. I didn't want to play Tails because he shares a good amount of his story with Sonic. I decided to search the internet for a chart showing the timeline of the story. I found a chart by Reddit user Jacuto S that showed that Big's story ends the earliest, so I decided to play him. Big's gameplay has always been a controversial section of the game. This is because people found the fishing mechanics annoying and difficult to deal with. Personally, I never understood how stumped everyone was during his parts. As a child, I finished his levels quickly because I just went after Froggy. Looking back, having fishing as a required gameplay mechanic is kinda weird, but I like Big, so I don't mind. Big was my favorite character to play as a child because I always liked the characters that were derpy. Playing again, I explored the overworld the most with him out of any character, other than Sonic of course. It was always fun to mess around while playing as him. While exploring, I didn't know that Big's levels had additional areas other than the main map. At the ice cap level, I accidentally found my way to the pool Frog was out without breaking the ice for Big to get out. I thought Big was going to drown. But don't worry, I was able to retrace my steps and make it out. I wish other games had these optional areas to explore. From exploring so much in the levels and in the overworld, I found all of the lore upgrades. I wanted to challenge myself while playing a story by actually attempting to catch the other fish. I feel like once you catch the fish other than Froggy, catching him is a piece of cake. In Big's final level, I decided to try catching the shark, one of the hardest fish to catch in the game. After trying to catch it for 15 minutes straight, I did it! I got kind of lucky, but I still did it. I doubt many people have done the same, so I feel accomplished.
I got a fish. Wow, it's big.
According to the chart, I should be doing Tails' story next, but I really didn't want to start his story. But Knuckles' final level happens before Tails' final level, so I went with him. I always liked Knuckles' levels. His gameplay is just so different from Sonic without changing the gameplay too much for it to be a completely different game. Sure, the objective is different, but it is such a welcome change. At the end of the day, what do you expect from Knuckles? If you had the same stages as Sonic, then there is no need for 90% of the projectiles or platforming sections because Knuckles could just hover over them. Speaking of that, most of the exploration is pointless when you have Tikal pointing you to the exact location of the emeralds. She's way too helpful. That is why I tried not to use her at all. I like that Knuckles and the other characters have bosses that Sonic never faced, like Chaos 2 and the Eggwalker in Tails' case. But why do we need Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles to fight Chaos 4? Knuckles already shares a boss fight with Sonic and Big, kind of, by fighting Chaos 6. If this game ever got remade, I would remove this boss fight for Knuckles, or at the very least giving you the option to skip it if you already fought Chaos 4 with Sonic and Tails. Now here we go to Tails' levels. I feel like I can't avoid it any longer. I've been dreading playing Tails' story because not only does he share 2 bosses with Sonic, he also has the plane minigame twice. That is easily my least favorite part of the game. If we really need to have it, can we just have it in Tails' story, or maybe have it be one plane minigame each? In my 4th time playing it, I didn't even touch the controller for most of it, and it ended up being just fine. I appreciate how they tried to change the format from Sonic's story by making Tails' gameplay all about racing people. I thought they were fine, but part of me wonders if they fit within the context of the story. Sure, the first few levels are pretty lighthearted with Sonic and Tails trying to gather the emeralds, but when we get to the final level on Eggman's carrier, where the ship is exploding right in front of them, where they could die at any moment, Tails is still thinking about beating Sonic in a race. Really, Tails? Is now really the time?
No!
That wasn't too bad.
After Tails' story, I played Amy, another character I enjoy playing. I can't lie, running around with the hammer feels nice. But since Amy lives in Station Square, she wouldn't just jump around everywhere. She would follow traffic laws like everyone else. For all the other characters, other than Tails, I would just let them run around as they please. I like the concept of Amy's levels, running away from the robot while solving puzzles. It almost brings horror to Sonic. I used to be so scared of the robot as a child. This time, I tried checking what would happen if you let the robot take you. I remember the robot grabbing Amy once, and that counting as a game over. But in this version, he just attacks her. It always feels good to finally defeat the robot at the end of her campaign. What I really like is that he doesn't lose health just from getting hit. This is because if he had, Amy would have been able to defeat him a long time ago. One gripe I have about Amy is that you lose all of your momentum when you change directions. Should feel much more satisfying to play if that didn't happen. Also, Amy has so few stages. Yeah, I understand why, because Amy's story doesn't really start until the halfway point of it, and she never faces chaos or even knows what it looks like until Super Sonic shows up. Okay, there's no good reason why I decided to show that clip. I just thought it was really impressive that I was able to get him right in front of Sonic. See, doesn't it look like he's talking with Sonic over there? Since Amy lives at Station Square, she needs money for groceries and rent. It's not like she has a job, so in her levels I kept on getting too greedy with the coins and I died as a result. Many times. Finally, we are at the one and only E-102 Gamma. I feel like you always have to play him last because I feel like it packs the most punch. Playing his story after Amy's changes the way I feel about her final scene with the birds. It just makes it much more sad knowing why that last bird is there, why Lily, as Sonic X calls it, why he was able to reunite with his family. His levels aren't too difficult objective wise, but his levels do feel more difficult because of the time limit. I always had trouble with this final level. That was always tough, even as a kid. It was probably because I never seemed to remember to target multiple enemies at once to get additional time. I'm too used to mashing the B button when playing him. If I had to rank the characters as playing styles, taking everything into consideration, here's how I'd rank them. When I first played the game, I had no idea how complex the background characters were. The people in Station Square have their own stories throughout the few days the game takes place. Some of the people even react differently based on who you play. Some of the characters acknowledge how they see Amy frequently, which makes sense considering she lives there, and some scream for their lives when you play as E-102 Gamma. It really makes Station Square feel alive. There was the girl who constantly waited for her father, even at night, and the woman who waited in front of the burger shop. There was a couple that I saw sometimes. I thought the man was just a passionate man, but later on, another guy mentioned seeing a man with another woman. When I realized who he was talking about, I felt so betrayed. I couldn't believe that the creators included something like that. Don't worry, because later on, the cheater got caught. I'm pretty sure we can only see this during Sonic's story. I'm so glad I explored so much while playing as Sonic, because I would have missed it. It was so nice to see these little stories develop throughout the main campaign. At the end of the game, we meet the little girl's father, and the burger shop girl gets a shop at the burger shop. My favorite storyline was the train strike. I was surprised to see storylines like these in the game. These are things that can actually happen in real life. Well, not the train strike, but still. I love this storyline because it affected all the NPCs so they would comment on what happened. It was a good excuse to not allow the characters to get to Mystic Ruins at certain points of the story. The creators could have just made the trains close without an explanation, but they really went the extra mile to add all of that extra content. I was bummed that we couldn't reunite the woman with her explorer husband, because I found him on the right side of the forest. I wish we could get him home or at the very least reassure his wife that he was fine. These characters didn't just provide these stories, they provided help on where to go. Throughout playing the game, I never used Tikal's light orb thing. This is because since the characters comment on whatever is happening in the story, they gave me hints on where to go. It felt better to get hints on where to go next by hearing the characters' comments. And believe me, they have helped. For an oldish game, Station Square is really refreshing. This was complemented by the fact that every level has an in-game location in the world. I like that several levels were revisited because those places are locations that many people would visit. Emerald Coast isn't just the place where Tails happened to crash. It was also the place where E-102 Gamma stole Big's frog. Sonic Adventure's story is a bit complex because it comes in 7 parts, one for each character and one at the end for Super Sonic. Each story happens concurrently, so there are many scenes with the characters running into each other. Sometimes you can even see them standing somewhere in Station Square. For a quick synopsis of the story, a new being, Chaos, emerges from the Master Emerald, destroying it. Knuckles notices and sets out to find all of the Master Emerald shards. Eggman, the one who freed Chaos, sought to give it all of the Chaos Emeralds so he could use Chaos to take over the world. Sonic and Tails tried to stop him by gathering the emeralds themselves. The two have several struggling matches with Eggman, with Knuckles getting tricked by Eggman and Amy getting kidnapped. Through grabbing the emeralds from Sonic, Tails, Amy's bird Lily, and obtaining Chaos' tail back with Froggy, Chaos was nearly complete. However, Chaos went out of control once it obtained the final emerald, putting the entire city in utter turmoil. Throughout the story, the characters have been brought to a distant past within the Echidna tribe. Here, we find out that the magic orb guiding us turned out to be this orange-haired Echidna, Tikal. She shows us how the Echidna tribe fell from their greed to power. As a side note, I want to mention that I like that the guide of the game has a story-related reason to help us. Anyway, we learned that Chaos is only protecting the Chow, small baby-like peaceful creatures.
Oh, it's a monster!
Back in the present, Sonic absorbs the good part of the emeralds to transform into Super Sonic. After a climactic battle against Perfect Chaos, it and Tikal move on to the afterlife in peace. I really like Sonic Adventure's story. What I like most about it is that it doesn't revolve around Sonic. The characters have their own motivations, development, and events all without him having to be present. Tails and Amy learn to stand on their own, Knuckles fixes the Master Emerald, Big finds Froggy and turns him back to normal, and E-102 Gamma releases all of the animals. Despite that, all the characters are involved in the greater story. Each of them contribute to Eggman's hunt for the Chaos Emeralds or Chaos' madness. At the end of the story, everyone comes together to the egg carrier for a different reason and method. Eggman and Amy were already at the egg carrier, Sonic and Tails flew there in Tails' plane, and Knuckles and Big followed E-102 Gamma to the Mystic Ruins landing site. Actually, the game didn't show whether Big followed E-102 Gamma through the same entrance that Knuckles used. I'm just going to assume that he did something similar to the way he and Chris did in the anime. It was so fun replaying this game. Out of all the Sonic games I've played, this has the most fun single player experience, in my opinion. The creators of this game took a lot of risks by including different objectives, styles, and gameplay within each of the characters, making each campaign a unique experience. I wish Sega didn't stop taking risks like this, but I did hear that their latest game, Sonic Frontiers, is a pretty good game, so hopefully they are headed in the right direction. On that note, was there anything you agree or disagree with in this video? Let me know in the comments, as well as what you like and dislike about Sonic Adventure. If you liked this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more similar content. Thanks for watching, talk to you guys next time!
Wow, that dream brought back memories. I owe so much to Chaos Sonic. Wonder where he went. Sure hope he's all right.